Ethan Carter, a thriving CEO in the bustling heart of New York City, seemed to have it all: influence, riches, and an enviable lifestyle. Yet, when a seemingly flawless business deal spirals into a tangled web of deception, Ethan begins to question everything he knows. His wife, Olivia, relentlessly urges him to sign the contract, appearing more captivated by the potential rewards than wary of the risks. Could she, along with his trusted associate James Sullivan, be orchestrating a plot to ruin him? Just when Ethan feels isolated in his struggle, Sophie Harper, the young daughter of his cleaning staff, reveals a critical clue he overlooked, a detail that could unravel the entire scheme. Who is Sophie, and how does she know so much? The truth is far more sinister than Ethan ever anticipated. Will he overcome the ultimate betrayal, or will it strip him of everything he's built? Ethan Carter stepped into his sleek Manhattan office, the city's restless energy humming beyond his window. At 35, he had forged his empire from nothing, a testament to his drive for perfection, precision, and control. Confidence was Ethan's greatest strength, though it often teetered on the edge of hubris. He trusted no one's judgment above his own. As the head of a multi-million-dollar corporation, tough decisions were his daily reality. Endless meetings, prolonged calls, and high-stakes deal-making. But one deal, in particular, gnawed at him: a contract with James Sullivan, a prospective partner with a questionable reputation. Sullivan promised a deal that could transform Ethan's company, but something about it felt off. The documents on his desk were scattered, like pieces of a puzzle that refused to align. Each page seemed too polished, too convenient. His instincts screamed that if a deal seemed too good to be true, it probably was. In business, Ethan had learned the hard way that mistakes were costly. Every move demanded calculation. The numbers looked enticing, but he wasn't ready to commit, not without more clarity. His phone buzzed, snapping him out of his thoughts. It was Olivia, his wife. "Ethan, how long are you going to drag this out? We'll lose this deal if you don't sign today. This is our ticket to the life we've always wanted." Ethan's jaw clenched. Olivia was unyielding, always chasing more, and this contract was no exception. To her, it wasn't just about the company. It was about the lifestyle, the wealth, the extravagance. The pressure was mounting, her words echoing in his mind. She had been pushing him on this deal for weeks. Olivia cared little for the intricacies of business. She craved the rewards: money, status, luxurious getaways. They had been married for 7 years, and while their bond once thrived on love, it now seemed tethered only by ambition, hers primarily. He set the phone down, his fingers hovering over the desk, the decision weighing heavily on him. Olivia's expectations had always been lofty, but lately they felt stifling. She wasn't just his wife. She was a partner in a relentless pursuit of wealth and prestige, a race he wasn't sure he wanted to run. That evening, as Ethan stepped into their penthouse, the city lights blurred into a soft haze against the night sky. The space should have been a haven, but it felt more like a cold, silent prison. Olivia was in the kitchen, elegantly preparing dinner, the faint aroma of rosemary and garlic wafting through the air. She greeted him with a smile, but tonight it seemed off, her voice carrying a subtle edge as she placed a glass of red wine before him. "How was your day, Ethan?" she asked, her tone overly sweet, almost rehearsed. Ethan exhaled sharply. "Long hours, endless meetings, and now this pressure from you to finalize the deal with Sullivan." It was fine. He shrugged off his jacket, rubbing his temples as exhaustion settled in. His mind churned with thoughts of the contract, the numbers, and the growing unease. Olivia didn't notice his distant look. She never did. "I made your favorite steaks," she said, her voice tinged with hope, a familiar plea for him to relax and embrace her vision of perfection. But Ethan wasn't ready to yield. He studied her as she set the table with effortless grace, but it only deepened his unease. Olivia was always focused on appearances, on what they could gain, what they deserved. Ethan wasn't sure anymore if their desires aligned. He sat at the table, his fingers idly tracing the rim of his wine glass, unable to shake the feeling that something critical was slipping past him. "Have you signed the contract yet?" Olivia asked, her tone casual but sharp enough to make Ethan's heart skip. She had been waiting for this moment, hoping he'd finally cave. Ethan hesitated, setting his glass down. He was weary of the constant tug-of-war, of always being the one to make the hard calls. "I'm not signing yet, Olivia. I need more time." Her smile flickered for a moment, sending a wave of tension through the room. "Time?" she repeated, her voice tight. "Ethan, we've been over this for weeks. This is a once-in-a-lifetime chance, and you're still hesitating." Her words stung, but Ethan held his ground. "I know, but I need to be certain. There are too many unknowns." He looked at her, really looked at her, her flawless hair, impeccable makeup, and stunning dress. Beneath it all was a woman who wanted more, who would push him to his breaking point. He loved her, but tonight he wondered if he even knew her anymore. The conversation ended as it always did, Olivia with her persistence, Ethan with his doubts. He pushed his plate away, no longer hungry, the weight of the decision consuming him. The contract, Sullivan, Olivia, everything felt like it was spiraling beyond his control. Ethan stood, excusing himself from the table, and was about to retreat to his office when Olivia called after him. "Don't forget to call Sullivan," she said, her polished demeanor back in place. "We need this deal, Ethan. For us." He nodded, but the knot in his stomach tightened. Something about Sullivan, about the deal, felt wrong. Was he overthinking it? Or was he right to question everything? Ethan sat at his desk in his dimly lit office, the soft glow of the desk lamp illuminating the stacks of paperwork before him. His mind raced as he pored over the contract with James Sullivan, the same contract pitched as a golden opportunity. Tonight, something felt different. The numbers no longer seemed promising, and the terms felt off. His fingers trembled slightly as he lifted the contract. He had reviewed these clauses before, but tonight they seemed like pieces of a puzzle that didn't fit. A small discrepancy caught his eye, a signature at the bottom of a page. It wasn't his, and the date seemed rushed, too perfect. He flipped through the pages faster, scanning for other signs of tampering. Then he found it, another signature that didn't belong. His blood ran cold. The contract was a fraud. Someone had forged his signature, and the entire deal was a setup. His thoughts raced. How had this gone unnoticed? How had James Sullivan, someone he trusted, managed this? Or was someone else involved? A soft knock on the door broke his focus. He looked up, startled, as Sophie Harper, the young daughter of his cleaning staff, stepped inside. She looked nervous but resolute, clutching a small stack of papers. "Mr. Carter, I think I found something you should see," she said, her voice quiet but firm. Ethan gestured for her to come closer, still grappling with the forged signatures. Sophie handed him the papers, and his heart skipped a beat. They were documents from his office, hidden in a drawer he hadn't checked. "My mom, Amelia," Sophie began, "found something odd while cleaning your office last week." She didn't want to say anything at first, but then she noticed the papers with the wrong signatures. Ethan's eyes sharpened as he read through the documents. His suspicions were confirmed. Amelia, his cleaner, had spotted the discrepancies before he had, but stayed silent, likely fearing the consequences. She had known something was amiss but hadn't dared speak up. Sophie explained that her mother had quietly gathered evidence, careful not to draw attention. Amelia had been trying to protect him from a threat she didn't fully understand. My mom's scared, Mr. Carter. She thinks someone's trying to frame you, Sophie said, her eyes wide with concern. Ethan leaned back, his mind reeling. If Amelia had seen the deception before him, someone with access to his office was involved. The more he thought, the clearer it became. Olivia had been acting strangely for weeks. Could she be part of this? Was Sullivan the mastermind, or was someone closer to home pulling the strings? Determined to uncover the truth, Ethan took matters into his own hands. He couldn't trust anyone, not even Olivia. He began reviewing every document tied to Sullivan and the deal. The deeper he dug, the more evident it became that Sullivan wasn't acting alone. Red flags abounded, deliberate oversights, hidden clauses, vague terms meant to deceive. Sullivan was a pawn in a larger scheme. Ethan's instincts pointed to Olivia. Her insistence on signing, her pressure to trust her, her reluctance to discuss details, all hinted at something deeper. But what? One afternoon, as Ethan headed to his car, something stopped him cold. Across the street, through a cafe window, he saw Olivia with James Sullivan. They sat close, too close. Olivia leaned in, whispering, her hand resting on Sullivan's arm. He laughed, his face alight in a way Ethan had never seen. The moment was quiet but charged, unmistakable. Ethan froze, his mind racing for an explanation. He knew Olivia loved luxury, but this? Betrayal? His pulse quickened, betrayal clawing at his chest. His wife, the woman he had built his life with, was sharing an intimate moment with the man he was trying to expose. His phone buzzed. A message from Olivia, "We need to talk now." It was as if she knew he'd seen something. Had she been watching him, or had Sullivan tipped her off? His hands shook as he typed. "Where are you?" Her reply came instantly. "I'm at home. Please, Ethan, come back." Staring at the message, his mind churned. Should he confront her? Pretend nothing happened? Or was it too late? Ethan arrived home late, his thoughts in turmoil. Olivia was pacing in the living room, her face etched with worry. "Ethan, I swear it's not what you think," she began, her voice trembling. He could hear the guilt, even if she tried to mask it. "Then what is it, Olivia?" he demanded, his tone icy. "Why were you with Sullivan? What are you hiding?" Olivia looked down, her shoulders sagging. She took a deep breath, as if bracing herself. "James, he pressured me. He said if I didn't help him get you to sign, he'd ruin everything. Our business, our lives. I thought it was the only way to protect us." Ethan's heart shattered. The woman he trusted most had betrayed him. His world was crumbling, all because of her greed. Thanks for watching. Sorry for the interruption, but we'd love your feedback to improve our content. Do you think Olivia's actions stemmed from fear or greed? Would you have acted the same in her position, or taken a different path? Ethan Carter stood in his office, his mind a storm of chaos and resolve. His empire, his pride and joy, had collapsed before his eyes. Olivia, the woman he trusted most, had betrayed him. But there was no turning back. With help from Amelia Harper, a lawyer who had quietly gathered evidence, Ethan began piecing together a sinister puzzle. Amelia had accessed critical files, connecting James Sullivan, Olivia, and a sprawling criminal network. Her meticulous work revealed a shocking truth. Sullivan wasn't just a businessman. He was the mastermind of a vast criminal organization tied to Vincent Morrow, a notorious crime boss who had long evaded justice. Ethan's stomach churned as the reality hit. Sullivan wasn't just trying to rob him. He was using Ethan's company as a front for money laundering, illegal trades, and more. Olivia, it seemed, was too entangled in greed and deceit to escape. Ethan never imagined his wife would sink so deep into corruption. With Amelia by his side, he prepared for the legal battle of his life. They gathered every shred of evidence, contracts, emails, financial records. building an airtight case against Sullivan and Olivia. But the road ahead was perilous. The criminal network wouldn't let them expose the truth without a fight. As the case progressed, threats poured in. Ethan's phone buzzed with cryptic messages and veiled warnings. Amelia received eerie calls, some silent, others with hushed voices urging her to back off. But neither wavered. They were determined to see it through, no matter the cost. The trial date arrived, the courtroom thick with tension. Ethan and Amelia entered, knowing this was their moment to strike back. Sullivan, in a sharp suit, exuded confidence, but a flicker of fear betrayed him. He had underestimated Ethan, and now Ethan was ready to make him pay. Olivia sat across the room, her face an unreadable mask. She had been silent for weeks, leaving Ethan uncertain of her next move. Would she testify against him? Defend herself? The trial was grueling. Amelia led the charge, presenting evidence that exposed Sullivan and Olivia as fraudsters. Ethan watched from the gallery, his heart pounding as each revelation shattered his former life. Sullivan denied everything, but the evidence was overwhelming. Forged signatures, hidden accounts, all pointing to him and Olivia. She sat with her head bowed, too ashamed to meet Ethan's gaze. As the trial neared its end, Ethan felt the weight of finality. The jury deliberated for hours, but he knew the outcome was certain. He had fought for justice, and the truth would prevail. The verdict came. James Sullivan, Olivia Carter, and Vincent Moreau are found guilty of conspiracy, fraud, and money laundering. The court sentences them to 10 years in federal prison, effective immediately. Relief washed over Ethan, but it was fleeting, replaced by emptiness. He had won, but at what cost? His marriage, his trust, his peace, all gone. In the weeks that followed, Ethan worked tirelessly to rebuild his company. The damage was done, but with Amelia's guidance, he began to mend it. Amelia, his rock through the ordeal, continued her career as a lawyer, using her reputation to help others wronged as Ethan had been. Ethan knew his journey was far from over. The business world had revealed its dark side, but he wouldn't let it break him. He had learned hard lessons about trust, loyalty, and integrity. His success would no longer come at the cost of his soul. One evening, gazing at the city skyline from his office, Ethan felt a sense of closure. He had fought for what was right and won. But as he looked at a photo of him and Olivia smiling in front of their mansion, a pang of sadness hit. That version of himself was gone. A new Ethan had emerged, one who would never again let anyone exploit his kindness or manipulate his success. He dialed Amelia's number. She answered on the first ring. "Amelia, I want to thank you again. You didn't just help me win a case, you helped me save myself." There was a pause before Amelia replied softly, "You're welcome, Ethan. But the real victory is how you move forward. Don't let the past define you." Ethan smiled, feeling gratitude he hadn't known in months. For the first time in a long while, he was ready to face whatever came next.